Imagine being 19 years old, your whole life stretching out before you like an open road. Now, imagine that road hitting a dead end, a brick wall you didn't build and can't see over. This is the story of Malik Carter, a young man from Atlanta whose life took a sharp and unjust turn in 1992. He was just a kid, no criminal record, no weapon, no reason to be anywhere near the scene of a robbery. But in the eyes of the law, all it took was one nervous, uncertain eyewitness to point a finger. That single, shaky testimony, combined with a justice system riddled with cracks, was enough to swallow him whole. Malik was sentenced to 25 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. The courtroom door slammed shut, and the world he knew disappeared. For many, this would be the end of the story, a tragedy filed away in a dusty cabinet. But for Malik, this was just the beginning of a fight no one expected him to win. Behind the cold steel and concrete of a maximum security prison, Malik's spirit refused to be locked down. Surrounded by despair, he made a choice. He wouldn't let the system that broke his life define his future. He found a new purpose in the most unlikely of places, the prison library. Armed with worn-out, outdated law books, he began a new, self-taught education. He spent thousands of hours poring over legal texts, deciphering complex jargon, and learning the intricate dance of the very system that had failed him. He became a beacon of hope for others trapped alongside him. He wasn't just fighting for himself, he was fighting for them, too. He'd spend his nights drafting appeals, helping fellow inmates navigate their own legal battles, and giving them a voice when they felt they had none. He became an unofficial lawyer, a counselor, and a symbol of resistance in a place designed to crush it. His cell wasn't just a cage, it became his office, his war room. Malik knew that to break through the prison walls, his voice had to travel beyond them. So, he wrote, and he wrote, and he wrote. Hundreds of letters poured out of his cell, each one a desperate plea for justice, a meticulously detailed account of his innocence. He sent them to journalists, to innocence projects, to high-profile attorneys, to anyone and everyone he thought might listen. For years, his words were met with silence. His letters were ignored, discarded, or returned unopened. It was like screaming into a void. The hope that fueled him began to flicker. It seemed the world had forgotten him, content to let him rot away for a crime he never committed. Each rejection was another small death, another piece of his resolve chipped away. But Malik held on to a sliver of faith, believing that somewhere out there, one of his letters would land in the right hands. He just had to keep writing. Then, one day, it happened. A single letter, out of hundreds, found its way to the desk of Rachel Green. Rachel was a young, ambitious attorney, full of fire and driven by a fierce belief in justice. Malik's letter was different from the usual pleas she received. It wasn't just a cry for help, it was a compelling legal argument, laid out with stunning clarity and precision by a man with no formal legal training. Intrigued and moved by his story, Rachel decided to take a chance. She pulled his case file, and what she found was more disturbing than she could have imagined. It was a tangled web of deceit. Together, she and Malik began to unravel the threads of the case that had been woven to decades earlier. Rachel made the long drives to the prison, and through thick plexiglass, they formed an unlikely but powerful partnership. The seasoned, self-taught inmate and the determined young lawyer, united by a singular goal: to expose the truth. Their investigation felt like an archaeological dig, unearthing secrets that had been deliberately buried for 20 years. They discovered that the police reports had been altered. Key evidence that pointed to Malik's innocence had mysteriously vanished from the evidence locker. Most damning of all, they found that the original prosecutor had knowingly hidden crucial details from Malik's defense team, details that would have dismantled the state's entire case. It was a textbook example of a wrongful conviction, a perfect storm of misconduct and systemic failure. Malik had been saying it all along, but now, Rachel had the proof. She filed motion after motion, presenting the mountain of new evidence to the court. The legal system, which had once been Malik's enemy, was now being forced to confront its own mistakes thanks to the relentless pressure from this incredible duo. The fight was long and arduous, but for the first time in 2 decades, a genuine ray of hope pierced through the darkness. In 2012, the day Malik had dreamed of for 7,300 nights finally arrived. A judge, looking at the overwhelming evidence of his innocence, overturned his conviction. The words "you are a free man" echoed in the courtroom. After 20 years of wrongful imprisonment, Malik Carter walked out of the prison gates. He was no longer a number, but a man. He had just $50 in his pocket, a change of clothes, and the crushing weight of 2 lost decades on his shoulders. The world he stepped back into was alien. Technology had leapt forward, friends and family had changed, and the life he was supposed to have was gone forever. The anger and bitterness could have easily consumed him. He had every right to retreat, to try and piece together a quiet life for himself. But Malik Carter wasn't built for quiet retreat. He had won his own freedom, and now he was determined to win it for others. He didn't waste a single second. With the same fire that had fueled him in the prison library, Malik founded an organization and gave it a powerful name, Second Chance Nation. Its mission was twofold. First, to provide practical, hands-on support for formerly incarcerated individuals as they re-entered society. He knew firsthand the challenges they faced finding housing, securing a job, and simply readjusting to a world that often sees them only for their past mistakes. Second Chance Nation offered mentorship, job training, and a community of support. But Malik's vision went even further. He wasn't just interested in helping people after they got out. He wanted to fix the broken system that put them there in the first place. He became a fierce advocate for criminal justice reform, using his own story as a powerful tool to expose the system's deep-seated flaws. He was no longer just fighting his own case, he was fighting for an entire generation of forgotten men and women. Malik's voice, once confined to handwritten letters, was now booming from conference stages, echoing in university lecture halls, and appearing on national news. His transformation was astounding. The man who taught himself law in a prison cell was now a respected leader, advising lawmakers and inspiring a national conversation. By 2015, his tireless work had directly influenced the drafting of new prison reform bills aimed at preventing wrongful convictions and promoting fairer sentencing. His mentorship programs, which started as a small local effort, had expanded and been replicated in cities across the United States, helping thousands of ex-inmates get the second chance they deserved. Malik's story became a case study taught in law schools, a living example of both the system's fallibility and the incredible power of human resilience. He wasn't just a survivor, he was a revolutionary. Today, Malik Carter's legacy is a testament to the idea that one person's courage can indeed change the world. His journey from a wrongfully convicted teenager to a national reform leader proves that oppression, no matter how powerful, cannot extinguish the will to fight for what is right. He took the worst imaginable injustice and forged it into a weapon for good. He showed that even when a system is broken, even when all hope seems lost, some individuals simply cannot be broken. Malik Carter's story isn't just about the failure of the justice system. It's about the triumph of the human spirit. It reminds us that our circumstances do not have to define our character, and that true power isn't about the absence of struggle, but about what we choose to build from the rubble. Thank you so much for watching and for letting us share this incredible story with you. If you were as inspired by Malik's journey as we were, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more stories that matter. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.